It started out as one man's dream, this steel drum project. But before the first pan ever arrived here in Portsmouth, this project had mushroomed into a great, diverse cultural endeavor. In fact, this was to become a summer encounter with people from varying backgrounds. People from the Portsmouth business community, the Caribbean pan players, parents, teachers, and the kids themselves. Kids who say they would otherwise be watching TV or just chilling at home with a friend if it were not for this pan project.
All started when I was a little kid. My dad had been to Trinidad, and one of my favorite uncles had lived there for a while and brought back some pan music, and I heard it. And I've always been fascinated with this kind of music anyway, and the fact that it's a homemade instrument made from discarded oil drums. I tried to make them when I was a youngster at one time and never really got anywhere. And been playing this kind of music when I was teaching at TCC and other places. I would play the music to some of my students, and they always responded very positively to it. Maury Cook and I were having a conversation. I just purchased a lottery ticket when the lottery got about $19 million last year, and Maury's kidding me. He says, "What are you going to do if you win all that money?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to hire a Chinese chef and start a steel drum band for the kids in Portsmouth." And he said, "What's a steel drum band?" So I played him a tape of pan music, and he's immediately hooked. He said, "Yeah, let's do this, but why wait till you win the lottery?"
I got here through Mike Goodwin's dream. Mike had a dream of bringing pan to Portsmouth. We call it pan. Some people here call it the steel drums, you know.
One of the ladies works in Maury Cook's office. Brother-in-law is in a band down there. Heard Maury and I talking about it and mentioned the fact that her brother and her brother-in-law Gibson plays in the steel drum band. Would we like for her to get in touch with him? We said, of course.
I was back in Trinidad, and one day I was home and the phone rang, and she told me, "Hey Gibson, the people that I work with, they need some steel drums band in Portsmouth." So I said, "Okay, I'm playing with a band," and I went and talked to my friend, and we got this thing together. That's how come this whole thing is happening, because of Gloria Mark, okay, which is my sister-in-law.
It so happened that Gloria Mark, who is a secretary at the PCDG, the Portsmouth Community Development Group, she overheard that, and she had a cousin named Gibson who used to work at the Pan Academy in Trinidad with me, where we used to make the drums and teach people to play, and we had a school teaching kids and everything. So when she spoke to him, he came to me and told me about it, you know. And when he told me about it, I gave him my number, and he relayed it back to the PCDG, and Maury Cook called me on the first day of this year, on January the 1st, and we started to talk about the program.
We spent many hours on the phone back and forth to Trinidad, and he invited me to come down in April, so I went to Trinidad, and we sealed the deal down in Trinidad, went and visited other pan yards, and I got myself a real first-hand experience with pan, you know, 24 hours a day in Trinidad.
There are guys here from 4 or 5 different bands all entirely, but the captain handpicked the guys because he didn't just want to pick up any guy and bring them out here, and they didn't know what's happening, didn't know where to start, you know, start running around with the kids. So he selected a group of guys who he thought, or who he know is like work-minded, and he know they will put out the good work and keep the kids playing.
And when Mike reached there, Mike couldn't believe. I took him around to the different bands in the area to hear like 80 people play one time. It's something else to hear 80 people play one time, you know. So he was amazed, and he had just seen, his dream is coming true. It's not a dream anymore, it's a reality now.
As the band was being assembled, the Portsmouth Community Development Group was creating cultural awareness components to go hand in hand with the pans.
What Portsmouth Community Development does is tries to locate the talent that's in our community. The people like Cherie Spencer, Askia, Michael Broadhurst, Michael Goodwin, people that have ideas that there's no place for them to step off, and we give them a place to step off. We give them access to our nonprofit corporation and a place to get these types of programs started.
I was doing a lot of cultural and educational consulting work around the country, but I live here. And Cherie Spencer had come over to one of the programs I had over at Norfolk State, which is a dance troupe that I brought in from Washington, D.C. during February. And she had been looking around for someone who was in the grassroots community doing this type of work. And she kept hearing my name, but she didn't know me. And she ended up coming to the program, and she found me that day. So ever since that day, I've been here.
So now, all the elements were in place for the opening of the pan yard. We'll be back with the rocky beginning after this break. In Trinidad, this place would be called the pan yard, the place where drums are pounded out, as you can hear in the background, and the place where musicians practice their art. The facilities here on Queen Street are on loan from the Portsmouth Housing Authority on a special lease basis.
When I'm not able to be here on time, when I have to go to meetings. Well, in the beginning, it was almost crazy. It was really interesting to have all of the kids who had registered to be here. We had gotten up to about 90 kids registered, but on a daily basis we'd have somewhere around 55 to 60 kids. And getting them organized and socialized to do what we needed for them to do so that they could learn what we had to offer for them.
The first week I had here, I was going mad. The first week I had here, every day I left this project, I had a headache. They just couldn't stop one place. They wasn't listening. You're trying to talk to this group and one speaking over there and hush up, one speaking there, you know? So order was hard to come by.
When we started the very first day, I was saying to myself, oh my God, this thing will not work because some of the kids got no discipline, but I realized we got to take time with them and it's beginning to work now.
I used to go home in the night and pray to God and ask God, show me a way to make this work. And now, all them kids in there beautiful. All of them very calm and nice now. They listen, they tell them go here, they obey commands now, you know.
To this point, we have some very successful kids. They've dealt in the area of learning self-discipline, performance, and getting nervous. And now they've gotten over it a little bit. The behaviors and things have improved a lot, and it's just been a real excellent program since we began. So I'm real happy with all the success and the progress that we've made so far.
You're going to help me do this? Okay. So I do it here. Okay, one more time. We're here, okay. As you can see, it does take some practice to get used to playing the pan. Now, the band from Trinidad actually brought the instrument here, but they needed additional instruments to be made, and the kids themselves helped make those right here in Portsmouth. Now, if you ever wondered how they turn an ugly oil drum into an instrument that makes exotic melodies, here's a gentleman who's been doing it for 50 years to explain how.
Everything is hammering. Everything we do is hammering. Everything. Everything is based on hammering. Now, when you pad the hammers, you hammer in order to get the drum prepared for what instrument you are making. Right now, I am concentrating on making a bass. The bass is synced to 4.5 inches. The alto or second pan is to 6.5 to 7 inches. And the tenor pan, which is the lead band, that we have to sync to 8 inches. To get the different tones on the drum, we have to use measurements of the different notes, and every note carries a different size so that you can get the notes properly. The tenor pan or first pan, we use 1 drum to make that instrument. We use 2 drums to make second or alto pan, that is 2 drums. We also use 2 drums to make the guitar, and we use 6 drums to make the bass. If you heard a steel band, let us say 25 years ago, to what you are hearing today is a lot of difference. And it really developed practically every year. You got something new. Say like 25 years ago, every year you got something new all the time, all the time. We always experimenting, doing something to get better tones. I have been in this pan business, let us say about 50 years. I am 64 years of age.
The steel band was invented due to the slave trade. When the slaves were brought from Africa to Trinidad and Tobago, they used to send messages with the drums from different plantations. So this one will send a message and that will send a message, and so they could send the messages and then they speak to each other. Then the drums were taken away. After slavery was abolished, people used to just pick up an old pan or an old dustbin and just making a rhythm. It was a rhythm. It was a rhythm. One day one man was playing one of these dustbins and he got 2 songs. Tung tung ting, tung tung ting. Then another one got 3 songs. And then another one got 4 songs. So they started with 8. And in those days, every man in a pan band made his own instrument. You know, so it started from there and it evolved, you know, from there. It flows through your body. If you go and touch the bass, boom, you feel it, boom, it flows through your body. And it brings out a part of you that is in there stifling, that wants to come out. A part of your soul that wants to come out. It brings out that when you play in the band.
In Trinidad, the gangs use the pans instead of weapons. They compete together with music and dance. It's a far cry from the gang violence that we know too well here in America. In a moment, we'll explore the cultural awareness components of the Portsmouth Pan Project. As the kids learned to make and play the steel drum, they also began to learn the culture of the Trinidad people, as well as other countries of African descent. And they learned the values either previously ignored or unknown.
Well, in the cultural awareness components, we've been mostly working on dance because we put together the performance yesterday for the PCDG members meeting. And we're also going to be working on the area of history and culture that will be presented from different clinicians who will come in, presenting information on African world history and culture in America, in the Caribbean, on the continent, and also in other cultures as well. So those clinicians will come in who are experts in their fields, who are teachers, who belong to cultural societies, and they'll come in and do those presentations, and the kids will learn a lot from it.
It's not just learning the dance, it's learning a culture. Any dance movement has its origin in some human activity. What I'm seeking to help them discover is a stronger sense of themselves. They're beginning to look at themselves as their parents, their grandparents, even as their peers. What is the culture of Portsmouth? Where do these people come from here? You know, people that come to Portsmouth, what do they bring? We sat down one day and people just said where their parents and grandparents, some people trace their ancestors all the way back to Europe. Someone, we found out, parents were never slaves. They came over as free Africans. And it was, people were learning, some people had no idea who their fathers and mothers were. Some people's parents were dead. And you saw their faces as they talked, as they got more and more comfortable with it, they started discovering, they were, oh, you're like me. Oh, you're opposite from me. And they began to see themselves in place with the others in the class.
I'm basically teaching the kids socialization skills and self-discipline. Basically, I'm really teaching them stress reduction techniques, things that they might not have really had exposure to anyplace else. And I'm teaching them how to find that place inside where they can be peaceful and how to concentrate and how to quiet down even in times of stress. So we're sneaking a lot of useful things in along with the music.
I just had a workshop last Tuesday on form and music, so they got some other things other than just the steel drums. My workshop talked about the things that the elements that make up music, like repetition and contrast, and what things hold it together, what gives it variety.
As the summer progressed, the PAN project took its show on the road, appearing at churches, housing projects, nursing homes, and special events throughout Portsmouth.
I think this was one of the traits particular to Portsmouth, that there's a sense of territorialism. If I'm from Cavalier Manor, I don't mess with downtown. If I'm from Ida Barbara, I don't mess with Swanson Homes. And that really has been one of the issues we have had to deal with these youth and trying to get them. Because one person is just one person from their neighborhood, everyone rides them. Because that's something that youth do. That's a teenage thing. As the project has gone on, gradually those barriers have broken down. Now they're beginning to see themselves as the PAN Project youth. Now we play the PANs, which it's wonderful.
What I've noticed is that the trust and the friendship has built up, and it's very heartwarming to see that happen, because I know that some of the youth that are here have not had all that wonderful experience with everyone that's dealt with them, and so it's been very, very rewarding for us to know that now we feel that these children are our friends as well as our students.
In a moment, you'll learn what the participants themselves thought of the project. Now, how do you measure the success of a project like this? Well, let's ask those who stood to gain the most, the children of Portsmouth.
There is nothing around here that sounds like steel drums. keeping me busy, and it's positive. I'm doing something positive, not negative. And, you know, it's fun, and I enjoy it. I enjoy coming back every day.
Well, one of my music directors was involved with it, you know, and she was telling me about it, and I became interested in it that way. So, and plus I'm interested in all types of music anyway, and this is a different type, so I just came on down. The sound that I get out of the steel drum is the ringing tone and that sensation, because it's so different from any other tone you might hear. Well, I learned about the culture of Trinidad and their music and the respect for their instrument.
Keeps me out of trouble, and it helps me to know better about what they did in Trinidad or other places, what kind of music they make.
Well, we've been able to play for children less fortunate than us. We've been able to go around neighborhoods and play for people that, you know, in Pine Treatment Center and stuff.
This project is good because it's a lot of things to keep you off the street, keep you from being boring. And you can go, you got free lunch and it's all free, and you play the drums and you learn other things. We learned in the project dancing, and we learned how to make the drums, not just playing them, and how to tune them.
Well, I played the tin pan, and I was involved. A lady came and taught us this African dance, and we put them all together. And I learned that we can communicate with like other languages and cultures and stuff like that.
They have learned to deal with people. They're sticking with people. They're sharing. When they first started, one couldn't share anything. When he was first asked to share a drum, he went totally berserk. But they're sharing. They're intermingling with the other kids. They're having a good time.
We're coming to the end of the summer program, and we've all realized we're just getting them. And it's so fragile and new that it will fall apart. So of course we want to continue it in an after-school program. We want to have a steel band performance group that not only that goes to their schools, so that they go around their peers and they're performing, they're showing their peers what they do, that we go back to public housing areas, go to the schools, go to the churches. Everyone, this is what we're doing. We want to keep it going. We need some people from the community to come in and help us, so that when they go back home, there's a face that they recognize from both places. And that really is the only way that this thing is going to hold, the only way.
What we need is for individuals or corporations and organizations to step up to the plate and help us to fund this project. We would really like to have this project to go on throughout the school year.
Yeah.
At this point in time, we don't have enough funding to do so, but we would appeal to all those organizations, the institutions, all the individuals, the churches, the organizations to help us out financially so that these kids can continue to benefit from this type of project.
It's been pretty much all of I expected. You know, I'm really glad to see the kids responding the way we do, and you see the kids play and you hear them and see the difference in their attitude. And 4 or 5 weeks of working, I mean, kids who had big chips on their shoulder now come up and give you a hug in the morning. That's kind of a rewarding thing.
This shouldn't die right here.
Why?
You know, no, just seeing what's happening here. You shouldn't let this just die a natural death. This is something to be revitalized, keep going on all the time, and it will get bigger and bigger.
Regardless of what is retained about playing and making the steel pans, or about the culture of the Trinidad people, it's clear that no one who was ever touched by the music and dance that reverberated here will ever be the same. The sense of perseverance, the sense of determination serve as a constant reminder of the sweet melodies of pan music and the summer of '94. I'm Kelly Wright. Thanks for joining us.